Hello, Miss Ferris. This is going to be my Alaskan interview. Alright, here we go. Please state your name, age, and how long you have lived in Alaska.
My name is Linda Murray. I'm 58 years old. I was born in the territory of Alaska in 1954. I did live in the Seattle area for about 6 years, but came back, and I call Anchorage my home. And so I've lived here most of my life.
Alright. Describe Anchorage when you were growing up.
Anchorage was much smaller when I was growing up. In fact, the neighborhood I grew up on in Tudor Road was pretty much the end of the city at that time. Most of the other neighbors that lived near us were homesteaders. They had been given land by the government and were improved upon the property and made their homes that way.
Oh, interesting. Tell me some of the main differences you have observed between then and now.
Well, when I was growing up, everybody knew everybody, and in the early days, and was always willing to lend a hand. We never locked our doors, and even left our keys in our car. We knew and trusted our neighbors, and didn't have any fear of anybody breaking into our homes or stealing our cars or anything like that.
Yeah.
We didn't have the shopping malls that we have now, and the big box stores. People ordered everything from catalogs or bought them from the few mercantiles stores that we had in the city. People had to plan a long time in advance if they needed something, because it took months for the items to get here from the lower 48. Even television shows and news programs arrived 2 weeks later. We used to watch Christmas programs in February.
Do you feel these are good or bad changes?
Well, some of the changes are good. I really enjoy having paved streets, because we didn't in the early days. It was all gravel roads, and some were not so good. I enjoyed also having the choice in shopping and the conveniences, but I miss the neighborhoods of the old Anchorage and how safe we felt then.
Yeah. What do you think is unique about living in Alaska compared to the rest of the U.S.?
Well, there are so many things. The clean air and the beautiful mountains and the pristine lakes and streams, and the fact that you have a large community that's diverse culturally, like Anchorage, and it's the best of both worlds. It's a wonderful place to raise a family.
Yeah, it is true. What are some of your favorite childhood memories and activities from growing up in Alaska?
Well, when I was growing up, we played outside all day, from morning till night, in the summer and as much as possible in the winter. We made our own games and played with a few kids that lived in the neighborhood. We didn't have video games or color TV, so we had to be pretty inventive. We rode our bikes everywhere. We went camping and fishing with our family, and those are some of the most vivid memories that I have.
Alright. Do you think life is easier now or when you were growing up?
I think it was easier then. Again, neighbors helped neighbors. Nobody had much materially, but what we had was shared. My mom didn't work outside the home, and we could afford to live on one income. Nowadays, I see two-income families struggling.
Yeah. Please describe the home you were born in and a description of your neighborhood when you were a child.
When I was born, my parents were renting a small one-room cabin about 16 by 20. That's about the size of our kitchen now. We had no indoor plumbing, so we used an outhouse, and we had no indoor running water, so we had to either haul the water from a nearby creek or use a hand pump and pump it from a well. Later, my parents built a couple of homes, and they were right across the street from one another, so I ended up growing up pretty much right on the same street most of my life. My grandparents lived right next door, so we had a kind of our family community right there.
Please describe what originally brought your family to Alaska and when they first arrived here. Alright. Please describe what originally brought your family to Alaska and when they first arrived here.
Well, I was born here in Anchorage, but my father came up in the military, and my mother came up to Anchorage when she was 16 years old with her family. My grandfather always wanted to come to Alaska for the experience of the last frontier, and he's really the reason that we're all here today.
All right, thank you so much for your time, and I have learned a lot from this interview.